Hey guys, welcome back to Kitchen Gadgets. Today we're testing the Caiman pressure cooker that is also a smoker. For those of you who don't have any outdoor space or don't have a smoker, you can make barbecue at home. Imagine that. So today we're gonna test two different types of cuts. We're doing ribs and of course the king of barbecue, brisket. We're gonna be testing this with some oak wood chips. So not only does this pressure cook and smoke, you have all these different functions like steam, slow cook. You can also cold smoke, which is really awesome. You can put a piece of fish in there. You can also time it and you can preset it to all that nice stuff that all pressure cookers normally do. All right, so it looks like there's a lock and an unlock button, of course, because you want this to be locked when you're pressuring. There's a classic pressure valve that you can let out the pressure or steam. And then when you lift it up, inside there's two racks, so you can do a double layer because this is, quite small. You can't really put like a whole piece of meat in. You would have to sort of cut it up and sort of like layer it. And this is because there is a coil in the middle where you place your actual wood chips so that it creates that smoke. And then what you do is you add water so that that acts as your moisture so that your meat does not dry out. So if this works, this is the Instapot of smokers. The price point is slightly higher at $168. I know Instapots, you can get it for like $99 or $100, but if it can smoke, that's like an added function that you can't get anywhere. So it's actually very worth it, if it works, of course. So, starting with the ribs, I'm gonna use this as a guideline just because I have to cut up the ribs so that it fits on these two racks. Today we're just doing salt and pepper. I know everyone has their favorite barbecue recipe, but we really wanna test out the smoke and that's the whole point of it. So we are going super old school, just salt and pepper. So just gonna add 1.5 cups of water, and this is just what the manual said, so I'm just going with that. So I poured it in and it's literally right below the grate. The meat is not touching any water. Okay, perfect. We are adding oak chips today. The manual doesn't say anything about soaking the chips, so we're just gonna add it straight in there. And it only requires 3 to 5 chips, which is not that much at all. The little lid goes on, and then we're gonna lock it. Make sure that this is on pressure, and then we'll go into functionalities. Okay, so we're gonna smoke today. So smoke, and you can see cold or hot. There's two functions. We're doing hot. We press smoke one more time, and then this is where you put your timer. So moving on to brisket, I am super excited for this because if this works, I have like so many recipes that I want to try. Going back into this, so the one kind of annoying thing about this is that you have to cut up the brisket. I feel like brisket should be like whole, but it's fine. So I know you barbecue fanatics are cringing right now as I slice this piece of meat. I kind of cringed a little too, but this is just how it works. We want to season heavily on the salt and pepper because in traditional barbecue, the bark is one of the most important things. We want to make sure that the pepper, milds out and can really mimic that, super traditional barbecue flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and season on all 4 sides, and this is, one of the positives because you get bark on all sides. I have one little guy left, and I do really want it to fit, so I'm just gonna cut this up to, kind of maneuver it around to make it fit. And it will. So brisket is in. I'm a little bit concerned just because some of the brisket is like touching each other, and honestly, you want as much surface area as possible for the smoke to circulate. The lid goes on, and one thing to mention is that this is not like a dome, which means that it has less surface area to circulate. Just a minor concern. The lid goes on, locking it, smoke. I'm doing hot at 50 minutes, same as the ribs, so we can take it out at the same time. Okay, start. Now that's it. Guys, it's been 50 minutes and my barbecue is ready. I thought about it during the 50 minutes and I feel like it's not gonna be charred at all. I feel like it's just gonna look gray. But you know what? You never know, so let's check. All right, starting with the ribs, I'm gonna let out the steam first and then we will open it. There we go. Oh wow. Okay, so it did get a little color. It smells incredibly smoky. Some of the meat has pulled away from the bone, which means and indicates that it is tender. Pepper looks gorgeous on the meat, and actually it's not like gray, so I am pleasantly surprised. There's still a little bit of water left in the bottom, and you can see some of the oil from the ribs. These look good. Okay. Before I taste this, which I really want to right now, but we're gonna get the brisket first, and then we'll taste together. Brisket, now this is like the real game changer. If this works, incredible. Okay, so not that beautiful dark bark, but it smells really smoky and there is a little bit of color. You know what, it's all about the flavor. Looks like to me that it could have been cooked a little bit longer, but we'll cut it up and see. Actually, this is looking a little gray, as I predicted. And okay, so this is what happened. The moisture from the brisket came out, and now the water and the fat level in this guy is a little bit high. So what ended up happening was these bottom pieces of brisket is now sitting in water. So that concerns me. I'm a little bit disappointed. Okay, now it's my favorite time, tasting. I'm gonna start with the ribs, which actually look very nice and smell is wonderful and smoky. It's really smoky, and actually the pepper, I still get a bite, but it's nice. It's like pleasant. It's not too much. Not bad. I would say, for not having like a real smoker, this is a really good product. I mean, listen, it's not like the prettiest rib out there, but the flavor is all there. It's tender, it's smoky. I'm really happy about that. Moving on to brisket, which I am a little bit more skeptical over because it looks kind of gray. Half of it was sitting in liquid. So let's just start with the little piece over here. It's definitely not tender enough. The meat didn't break down. Definitely could have used a little bit more time. Yeah, it's a little dry. It's definitely dry. It needs to go a lot longer. You can tell it's really, really tight, which means that it just needs a little bit more time. You know, traditionally brisket, it just like falls apart. So just saying, but we gotta taste it, and I'm gonna taste it, give it a fighting chance. Definitely needs time, more time. Tough piece of meat. So I think that with the brisket, there's a few things. The ribs, we followed a recipe that was in the manual. There was no recipe for a brisket, but I think right off the bat, it needs more time. And also maybe just using the second rack instead of using like the 2 racks, just so that the bottom pieces aren't swimming in liquid. You know what? This is the first test we've done. I think the second round, we just go a little bit longer, you know, just on the second rack, maybe a little less meat in there. And we could have a good product, you know? I think that it could have a fighting chance. It does work. We've done it with the ribs, and this was a recipe given in the manual, and we know that it works. Does it replace your outdoor smoker? Maybe not quite so much, but it is an indoor pressure cooking smoker, which I've never heard of. So this, you know, is, I think, a really great product. Tender, smoky ribs in less than 50 minutes that taste like barbecue. We got it here. I'm sure you could do it with chicken, you know, salmon, whatever you want to cook. I think that the smoky aspect of it is really coming through, and I think for that, it is a really good product. Mind you, this not only smokes, but it pressure cooks, it steams, it slow cooks, so it does all the functions that you want in, you know, any Instapot. It just has that added attachment of smoking, so I just think that for $168, it is really worth it. Today's video was brought to you by our sponsor, American Express, with the Pay It Plan It feature, giving you choices for how to make payments big or small.